Hey, this is Kevin Carr, CEO of Pro to CEO, and today I want to talk to you about how to climb the corporate ladder from humble beginnings. And I mean that from a very sincere place. I grew up single parent raised, no dad since the time I was 5, never came back in my life as well. And I grew up in what people would consider places that most people necessarily did not want to get their start. My mom and her hard work and dedication got us up out of those situations, so kudos to her. But I will tell you, all the way through, there were lots of transitions and situations and things that happened that could have taken me this way or could have taken me that way. And because our environment was not perfect, and it doesn't have to be, is what I'm saying, for you in order to get to the top of your game. So today I'm going to put you in on, not a secret, but in on facts that allowed me to be able to get to where I am today, where I served as a corporate executive for 14 seasons at the NBA. And before that, at two major institutions as I grew my career. And even between those two institutions, I served as a startup person for a private nonprofit that was in the corporate circles as well. So there's a lot here that I've got to share, and it might take more than one video, but I want to make this interesting for you. So who is this video for? This video is for the person who aspires to one day work for a company, big or small, and you might want to get to the top of it where you're in a senior management position. You might want to be the CEO one day. This video is for someone who's in a company, who's trying to figure out, what do I need to do to get ahead? What do I need to do to make it? This video is for you because I've been there. And this video is also for someone who's at a senior position and you're there and you made it. But are you doing things to prepare your environment for the next senior manager, senior executive? Are you as a leader doing your part to not just be delighted that you got there? Are you helping someone else? So this is about the corporate climb. This is for my corporate climbers, people who are aspiring to go up. So I want you to keep tuning in to this message because it's one in which I'm going to always give you things, hopefully in this, that help you climb and get to where you want to be that one day at the mountaintop of whatever level of professionalism and career experience and development and exploration that you want. That's one of my things about transition. My company, Pro to CEO, is a transition company, and it allows us to work with athletes in transition, artists in transition, executives in transition. We also work with organizations, big universities like the ones behind me in the past and currently, on transformational things within their environment to help them get up that ladder or get to higher levels of success. So our mission at Pro to CEO is transition is our mission. We do it day in, day out. That's my passion, and I want to give it to you now. So this video is for my corporate climbers, people who want to find out how to climb the corporate ladder from humble beginnings. So in order for me to tell you that, I got to go back before I go forward. So if you'll be patient with me, I'll be able to give you off some good information. So my first experience of understanding how to climb was understanding expectations at home. Not everybody has a situation like I had at home. I had a tough Southern raised mom, meant business, no joke. She had no time to play with us because she was trying to get up out of our situation in the projects. She had no husband, and she had 4 kids that she had to raise, 1 girl, 3 boys, and we were all hungry, we're all needy, and we needed direction, else we would have been all over the place in the project. So she knew she didn't want to lose any of us. She knew she had to put us on her back, and I watched that part of her come alive, and she meant everything she did because she had no room for error. So she told us right from the jump, your job is to be a good person, to have integrity, to have faith. So go to church, and not just go to church, be involved in church. We were involved, Sunday schools, going to church sometimes with her on choir practice, and then getting involved in things like the color guard, where I learned how to play the drums. My sister was one of the dancerettes or flag persons. My brother also was part of the drummer. My older brother did some things in church as well. We all had an active role. So not just, going, one of the things was you had to work on something and do something to exercise your faith and exercise your involvement in something. So what am I saying? When you get somewhere early in life, young person, get involved, like show up, be a part of it. Don't just sort of be in the mix and just, hey, I hope this gives me something. Don't always take. Be ready to give. Be ready to put yourself in position. I know through that, I learned that my mom was serious about us exercising our faith. So that was one of my roles. I just couldn't show up to church. I had to be involved. The second thing was that I had to show up for my job for school. Get up early, get myself ready, be at the bus stop, walk to school, whatever it was. I had to show that I was involved in my school, and not just show up to class, but have decent grades. And I'm talking about the best grades you can have. My mom had no time for us to be slacking, being someone who talked back to the teacher, get in fights at school, shuck off my homework and not do what I was required to do. And then she had to find out where I was with my homework. There was none of that in my household. And a lot of people say, you were very fortunate. Yes, I realized that. But I also realized that I had a responsibility to my mom, who was really working hard to do what she did. And I didn't want to be a burden to that. I understood very young that we were in dire straits, and I didn't have any room for me to goof around and be, off doing things that would call my mom from work, because I knew if she came from work, she would go upside my head. And I mean it in a way that she would be disappointed. She would tell me exactly what she felt right on the spot, no sugarcoat, in front of any and everybody. She would let you know. And then from there, when you got home, you might have another thing coming to you. So to me, I was able to understand that, and I didn't want any part of that with my mom. So I understood that we were to be responsible for our grades, and you couldn't just be sick because your stomach hurt and all that other stuff. She couldn't stay home with you, so you knew you had to push through it if you got a little ill. If you were really, really ill, obviously she'd stay home with you. But, going to school, that was part of your job. And the next thing was to do your work around the house. You could not watch TV. You had to do book reports for her. You had to read beyond what was school, and on Sunday, tell her what you read. You had to do all your work. We really didn't have any TV, period. There was no cable to some degree until later. But school, work, chores around the house, during the week, that was our drill. And as long as you did what you had to do, take out the garbage, clean your room, make your bed, wash your clothes. That's right, wash your clothes. I know how to wash my clothes really early. I knew how to cook. My mom would call from work and say, hey, take this out. By the time I get home, have this part of it ready, and then I'll do the rest. And then she would go back out the door and go to night school, go to trade school. And then we would hear her come back in late. She often had a double type of shift life. And she even worked third shift sometimes. So I understood she was doing her a lot. So around the house, cutting the yards, taking garbage out. Don't try not to break anything that would cost us anything at home. Don't do foolish stuff when she was away, don't go too far away from the house, things like that. I just didn't do, but mostly I knew I had to roll around the house, all of us. And if we didn't do our job, my mom would let us know that we needed to do our job and discipline us, no allowance, things like that. So I didn't want that to happen. So I understood that all those things, in order for me to really perform well, I had to understand that early on in life, I had a job at home. It was my job at home to be a good person, to have integrity and character, but also to do good in school and to take care of the household as a kid would, at levels that a kid could do. Then my mom really didn't think there was nothing that we could do, and she tasked us with that, and we learned how to do a lot of things. Well, to this day, I can do pretty much everything I need to do. And I'm thankful for her for that. So when I got to an age where I knew I wanted to make some more money beyond what the little bit that she could provide to give us, because she had to pay for everything, I understood how to work. And one of the first things, we had a little piece of a lawnmower. My brother and I would go around to the yards and we charged $5 for the front, $10 for the back, $15 we would split $7.50 each. And we had our little Mad Money Man. We would go to 7-Eleven, get a big gulp or a bag of chips, a Hershey bar, things like that. And then we would save it to go to the movies. We save it to buy a model car and build a car. We would save it to, maybe to get something for our friends, maybe some McDonald's and splurge, fix something that broke, like a flat tire, all those things. We knew how to really take care of things ourselves. So that was big for me, getting my own little work on and understanding how to make money for ourselves. We could only do that though if we took care of responsibilities at home. If we didn't, we were shirking off. My mom would not allow us to go out and make money somewhere else if we didn't take care of home first. So I understood my responsibility started at home, and if I were going to be able to do anything else, it would be outside of the work. These were major things that taught me humility, taught me how at the very beginnings you had to sort of crawl before you could walk and then run. So my first opportunity to really run was, I got my first job, 14, 15-year-old, as a janitor at my old elementary school where I went to 5th and 6th grade. I went to this elementary, and I can remember, being there as a young student. But imagine coming back after you've gone years later in high school and you're cleaning up the same bathrooms, the same classrooms, the same lunchroom, the principal's office. You're cleaning up all those places. In my mind, I'm going like, wow, I was here years ago and now I'm back cleaning up. It was an interesting feeling. There was a level of humility there, saying, wow, I'm literally at the place that I used to go, and I'm cleaning up now. I'm not sure I want to do this kind of work, but I will say I had a lot of respect for the gentleman that was the janitor. He was still there. He showed me how to clean. He showed me how to really do floors and mop. He showed me how to clean surfaces and scrape things like gum and clean things out of the bathroom where people, went and did things that you just didn't want to have to clean up. But honestly, it taught me a lot of character building. It also taught me that I didn't want to do that. So I did that for several months and months and months. And then I decided that I wanted a different type of job. So my next job really wasn't at a place, it was actually at school. Junior Achievement. I don't know if you know about Junior Achievement, but its entire premise is to teach young people about business and entrepreneurism, how to do things from finances to how businesses run, how to build out models for different businesses or nonprofits. If you were to do something one day for someone, how would it work? And I got elected junior president for my junior class in high school for JA. JA is Junior Achievement. And I can remember to this day, I have it right in front of me. Believe it or not, we built these. I saved one because I one day thought I might end up speaking about this, and lo and behold, I'm talking to it. It's called a crisis kit, and we built these for Junior Achievement. And man, this has got to be from the 80s. I'm telling you, stuff in here is crazy. One of the things I have in here that I just can't even believe is my old, it's got a sewing kit, it's got Band-Aids, it's got powder in case you get a stain, it's got shoe shine, it's got a spot remover, it's got a Band-Aid, it's got a raincoat hat, it's got a nail polisher. I mean, this thing had so much stuff in it that it was amazing. And to me, it just meant a lot for us to build this. And guess what? We went around the school, sold these, we actually made a profit. And that's what Junior Achievement was about, trying to show you how to create economic opportunity by empowering us to build something and think about if we could raise enough money for it. This kit right here symbolized my first attempt at leading people in high school to a successful venture, and we did it. So I saved this to really signify how momentous it meant to me to be elected and then to lead my junior class in achieving a level of leadership that I didn't know I even had in me. First, then for them to have the faith in me that I could lead the class, and then to lead us in an emergency management small kit. They should make these, these days. These are for your, pocket. They're for your car. They're for your office. These are emergency kits, man. It's a good idea. Somebody might want to pick up on this. I still have mine, so I haven't used this one, but never know. One day I might have to pull it out. So fast forward, my next opportunity to lead was working for a locally, regionally significant company. And if you live in the South, you know these, particularly between Florida and the Carolinas. These are very popular. If you guys don't know, this is the Green Apron. This Green Apron, if you haven't caught the hint, this is from Publix. That's right, shout out to Publix. Publix was, for me, one of the first places. See my apron, and you got the strings, you tie it in the back, you get going, and you're off to work bagging groceries. I may look to some people a little awkward, but this was significant. This is one of my first jobs working for a company that taught high-level customer service and professionalism. One of the best places, I still think, for a young person to work, because it teaches you to create an environment for success for people to walk in and day out. For me, I taught Mr. Terry. I don't remember his first name, but I remember his last name. Mr. Terry taught us professionalism to a high level, where I took it very serious to bag someone's grocery, take it out to their car, and not take a tip. That was one of the things that you didn't need a tip in order to do your job well. You did your job well, and you thank them for just coming into the store. They could have went anywhere else to do what they did, but they chose Publix. And for that reason, we did a good job. We kept our stores clean, we kept our stock full. We were able to provide a good product at a good price, and people enjoyed coming in. And the motto was shopping where shopping is a pleasure. To me, I didn't realize exactly how significant that professional environment, was. And you can laugh, you can say supermarket's professional. Absolutely. There was a lot of training that went behind the scenes to create that kind of environment. And I really thought that Publix gave me a good start as a young person on how to work as a team, how to stay at a station and work for hours, but also do other things in the mix of that. Before you got home, you had to mop the floors, sweep the floors, mop the floors, had to stock the shelves, had to go in the back and make sure the back of the house, even the part that you didn't see as a customer, the back of the house, me as an employee, had to be as clean as the front, or as clean as you could get it, considering there was lots of boxes and restocking going on and multiple people coming in and out. And then even in the back where the boxes had to be compacted, there was a special way to do all that. So the back of the store that nobody really went to had to maintain its level of cleanliness as well. So kudos to Publix. A lot of lessons I learned there. And after that, I graduated high school. And not graduated high school, the next place I worked before, it was in between like my last semester or two of high school. One of the most coveted places in the world to work came knocking at my high school, and they said, hey, we're looking for talented people. By that time I was in a band. Like I told you earlier, I learned how to play drums in the church. I was still playing. I played in my high school marching band, concert band, jazz band. I played percussion. But I auditioned for Disney and didn't get the music part. Man, I was crushed. And guess what they asked me to do? They asked me to become a part of the entertainment division in the area of costume characters. Can you believe it? Me, back then, I was around 6 foot tall, was asked to do all these tall characters. I did Captain Hook, Brer Bear, Little John, King Lion. I literally did one of the most well-known characters in the world. Goofy, that's right. Goofy. And I was literally everywhere you could imagine in the park. Half an hour sets, and then we go back inside, cool out, go back out, half an hour in the costume, and go inside and cool off, and then go back out. Did that for like multiple times, at least 8 times a day, in, out, in, out, in, out. This was my name tag. I never got to wear Kevin because I was inside of a costume, but they still made sure you had a name tag when you weren't in your costume. But that was a huge achievement to work at Disney, obviously known as one of the places, fantastic place on earth to take your family for hospitality and entertainment. It was a huge opportunity to work there. My mom actually worked for Disney for almost 30 plus years. My sister actually still works for Disney to this day. So Disney's been very good for my family professionally. My mom became a manager to construction, building, maintenance, and then my sister works in department there and characters, and she's been able to work with some of the most famous characters and development of them in terms of the byproduct, the out product that you see. There are people who design it behind the scenes. That's one of my family members. So if you touched a Mickey or Minnie or something, more than likely she had something to do with that, and she's amazing at it. So very, very happy and proud. Almost everybody in my family, my two brothers as well, worked at Disney. I grew up in Orlando, if I didn't already say that. But to me, Disney World signified an opportunity to do something professional at a whole nother level. And people came from all over the world. People would wait in line like a half an hour to see me in the costume. And then I'd have to go in, and I felt so bad, but within minutes, a second person would come and substitute. So it was almost like the same person coming out. We're kind of tag teaming each other going by, and I would go out or they would go out. So to me, it was a real important job. Made a lot of people happy. I had to learn how to talk without using words, because you can't talk in a character head. That taught patience. That taught the ability to improvise, the ability to think on your feet. All these things kind of built me up in terms of preparing me. So when I wanted to go to college and I was at the point of graduating, I had struggles because the leadership that I was doing in these jobs didn't necessarily translate on paper academically. I was a good student, but in the testing world, I wasn't as strong as I could have been. So I struggled in the testing. So often I didn't get where I wanted to be academically to the schools I wanted to go to. So I found a program that I thought I could get into, and they looked at everything. They looked at my leadership. They looked at all those jobs that I had working, junior achievement, working as a janitor, working at Publix, working at Disney. So they took that in consideration and not just my test score. So then they used my experience as a weight, and then my grades were decent. I was a 3-point at least at most of the time, if not better. So I took, again, my mom instilling you got to do good. And hopefully one of the things, if I didn't communicate this, she was saying the last job you need to do is figure out what you're going to do after high school. You got to have a plan. And I was running right up to that time, and I found this program. It's called the Summer Enrichment Program. Allowed me to graduate and go into this program, but I had a real important thing that had to happen before I could do that. If I told you I played as a musician in high school, jazz band, concert band, marching band, and our jazz band, for the time I was a junior to senior, we did fundraising. We raised a lot of money to try to go on a trip to Hawaii. We finally raised enough money. Everybody raised about $2,500 each. My twin brother and I, he played trombone, I played percussion in the jazz band. And we both were selected to play in the jazz band to go to Hawaii. So this is a really big deal. And lo and behold, the school I wanted to go to, Florida State, said that I could be accepted, but I had to come during the summer. Well, when you know, as fate would have it, the summer program crossed over into the same time as going on this senior trip to Hawaii. So here I am, I'm having to decide, one of the biggest decisions as a future leader for my life. Should I not go on this trip to Hawaii? Heck, I raised money for 2 years to try to go $2,500, and I couldn't get my money back. I wanted that trip. I worked hard. It was sort of like a crowning achievement in high school, and I was going to end my senior year in a bang in Hawaii. Man, who wouldn't want to do that, right? As a 16, 17-year-old. But at the same time, I had this other major decision. I had to decide, look, I can't really become a full-time college student unless I go through this 6-week program that, because they accepted me conditionally because I didn't have great test scores, I had to prove myself 6 weeks in college, and I had to come almost like 6 to 8 weeks earlier, first to learn how to become a student and get remedial work, and then begin college classes in 6 weeks and have a good GPA that proved that I could be at Florida State. So what did I do? I toiled over it, and I talked to my mom. And one of the decisions my brother and I came to with her was this: do you want to have fun for 2 weeks? Although you raise money for 2 years, you will have those 2 weeks and you will have a great time, and you'll remember that the rest of your life. Of course, that's a good thing to do. Nothing bad about that. But at the same time, here you have this conditional program. And if you get in, which you are conditionally accepted, you got to leave. Not within 2 weeks of high school, you got to leave. And you got to go on this. So you don't get a summer, really. You get 2 weeks to prepare to get ready to go to college. And then you're in college. And you can't just go. You got to make it. You got to fulfill that requirement. So what do you want to do? Because do you want to go and have 2 weeks and have fun, and then after 2 weeks wonder what you're going to do with the rest of your life? Or go on this trip and decide for the rest of your life, what are you going to do? What would you do? What did I do? I decided to go to the next level and go with my college opportunity. So I decided to take the trip of a lifetime and go to college to prepare for the rest of my life. And that was, as a leader, as someone I wanted to climb. I talk about the climb. That was a huge step in coming up, and I had to decide which way I wanted to go. And I decided to go to college, and boy, did I. Man, this is my college ID. Yes, sir. Ooh, man, look at that guy. He looks clean. This is so amazing. Look at me. I got the waves going on, and this is my freshman ID. I'll never forget it. Summer of '86. Wow, look at me, man. Cannot believe it. I was a freshman, and 6 weeks I was fighting for my life. But what was really cool was all the work I put in, working those jobs allowed me to put myself, I was climbing and didn't even really realize it. And then I got myself in position to possibly compete for the position of my lifetime early in my life, to go to college. And I succeeded because I put myself in a position. Although my humble beginnings were all the way through that, I didn't talk about what was going on. We were moving as a family. We couldn't afford to live certain places. I still focused. My mom was going to night school, and then she shifted to the night shift and then had to work the night shift after she got out of school. We were, constantly in activities. It was a lot of moving back and forth. There were some relationships that my mom had, and certainly some things worked out and some things didn't. We were able to, get in finally a good place in terms of an area of town, which meant that if I wanted to go to this high school, I had to drive and get up early. And, we didn't have the luxury of always, being on time, because we had to commute because of where we had to move once again. So it was just lots of things and dynamics that were going on that that could have prevented me from making it. But I was determined. My mom was determined. We made it work. So when I got to my program in school at Florida State, this was a special program, and I watched the people in that program. One of the things in my climb, I latched on to people I thought were going places. And that's one of the things you gotta really assess the environment, assess the situation. Every level I went in my climb, I was trying to latch on to good people and get around good people, and that was really important to me. So I will tell you that once I got to college, my climb began over to find the right environment, like I had done with all those other places, picking the right places to work, getting in a leadership position for JA, Publix, Disney World, now Florida State. All of these were places that, helped shape me. So in this program, I found mentors. I saw myself being like the seniors in that program, but I was a freshman. The seniors at Florida State were counselors in that program to us freshmen. And I remember meeting a business major senior. He had came through like me, and now he was a senior, and I was a freshman. And looking at him, I could see myself as, if I do what that guy does, I'm gonna graduate, and maybe one day I'll be like him, give back to the program, and be a part of it. So watching the juniors and the seniors mentor us and tell us the do's and don'ts, that's important as you climb. Listening to people, learning from people, getting a mentor, being a good mentee, ask questions, not just show up and take. Ask them what you can do for them. Be cooperative, have lots of energy, be a student in the game and show up. Don't be late, be on time, have a good reputation. Balance your life out where you're not known as just the party guy or a girl. Be known for your hard work, be known for having good leadership, be known for being a good teammate or being responsible. To me, those were attributes that helped me climb the corporate ladder. There was no one that could say at the time that I was a bad kid, or I was a knucklehead, or I was not punctual, that I wasn't well dressed, or I wasn't well spoken, or I didn't exude a certain level of patience, and I had a bad attitude. That could not be said. I wouldn't let it be said of me. And those were the things that got me noticed. So much so when I was on campus, I looked for things to do. I did work study. When I went to college, my brother and I, even though I looked, okay here, I was broke. My mom sent us to college, bless her soul. She gave us everything she had. She said, I got $400 for you, and I hope you guys, make it. And to me, that helped me understand that I was gonna have to really struggle and climb and hopefully make it until financial aid came through. And then finally financial aid came through, and I had a Pell Grant because we didn't have a lot of money. We qualified for government assistance through the Pell Grant. Thank God for the Pell Grant. For those who remember those, hopefully it's still available. But that money was well spent. It carried me through on top of my college work study that allowed me to buy groceries and to pay for my dormitory room and pay for books and pay for fees, etc. that came along. So for me, my climb, this was an early climb in terms of how I was able to get to college and get in college and figure out how to make it. So the corporate climb doesn't necessarily have to start at the very, very top. I'm giving you insight on how I began my beginning so you can see and understand how to begin your climb wherever you are. If you can hear some of the things that I'm saying is consistency and having the wherewithal to notice that you have a role and responsibility to your environment that you're living in. I was always going to be a good student. I was always going to try to stay out of trouble, have good character, and then I was always going to do my job around my environment so I didn't bring or have any lack of success. And that's something I'm wanting to communicate to you, that you got to have a serious level of stick-to-itiveness, that if you want things to work out for you, you got to stick to it and figure out who's good for you and who's not. I figured getting in these environments like a Publix, like a Disney, like Junior Achievement, all these things. I also did Boys and Girls Club. I did the Police Athletic League. All those things helped shape who I was and allowed me to go in places that, allowed me to get access to college and get into college. Once I got there, I wanted to stay there, so I got involved and worked first. And before I got into any social activities, I worked. I was a college student and a college study working student. I didn't do anything till the end of my sophomore year. A year and a half I waited before I got involved in any organization, with the exception of band. I did band and did the marching, and then I did the symphonic or concert band. The name of it escapes me, but at the same time, it taught me how to sort of discipline my time and not get overly involved. And then at the end of the sophomore year, I joined a fraternity. I joined Alpha Phi Alpha, and that allowed me to really understand how to be part of a leadership group. And it was a group of young men who were in a fraternity, the first fraternity for African American students in colleges. For me, that was a really great opportunity to learn from a bunch of guys who were leaders in their own right, how to be part of a social service organization that was national. And that got me going in terms of different leadership opportunities. The guys that I pledged with in the fraternity are friends of mine today. And I'm not talking casual friends, I'm talking real lifelong friends. You know, over 30 years now, we still talk and communicate like we're in college from time to time. So to me, that was a worthwhile endeavor. It has produced relationships and leads for life. And I didn't realize that when I was getting in the organization. It was said that you could build friends and have friends for life, but I got involved in the organization that I believe would provide something for me at the end, as long as I showed up and gave my best effort. So I'm telling you, all these things contributed to my ability to make the corporate climb and to really get through my first year of undergrad school. There were lots of things that I did, and one of the things that I decided to do towards the end of my freshman year was get involved in the summer enrichment program, the program that allowed me to go to college. I went back and became an advisor or a counselor in that program. That same program, I did a huge shift for myself and decided to get involved and to really give back to the very organization that helped me. So it was very fulfilling. Not only did I do it as a sophomore, I did it as a junior, and I did it as a senior. And I was that very senior that I looked at, now freshmen looked at me the same way, and I held that to high esteem. I lived in the dorm with them. I led myself. I made sure I provided good leadership the best I could based on my experience, and it was extremely rewarding to finally give back to the organization every summer that gave so much to me. So what am I telling you? Not only when you get somewhere, you got to look out for other people. You got to make sure that you can provide leadership that was given to you if you're that type of person. I was that type of person. I'm not saying everybody is like that, but that's part of my DNA as a leader, and I believe allowed me to climb to the heights that I have, because I really noticed what it took in order to do some things to help other people. So as you are thinking about how to climb the corporate ladder from humble beginnings, it's not just humble in terms of what you have, it's like humble in your mindset, humble in your ability to want to learn, humble in your attitude, humble in your confidence. You can be a confident person, but not cocky. You want to keep that in mind. You want to have the ability to have passion for what you do, and that's part of humility too. So when I talk about how to climb the corporate ladder from humble beginnings, it's not like what you have and you're growing up just in poverty. It is humbleness within you, that you're willing to learn whatever it takes, and you're willing to do the right things in order to put yourself in position to succeed. And that's important. So this is part one of how to climb the corporate ladder from humble beginnings. I'm going to start, my next video is going to be based on when I was ending my college and beginning to think about what I needed to do next to climb and get in the door and make it to the next level. So until then, I want you to really, I want to thank you for tuning in, and just keep, hopefully you're getting something out of these in order to allow you to understand what it takes to climb corporate. I started at the beginning so you get a sense of, it wasn't all of a sudden I showed up, I worked hard, and I had the things within me allow me to do that. No, I had to be formed and shaped and developed, and that's what I want to give you. I want you to reflect back on what shaped you, what developed you, what created that environment so you could succeed. All right, thank you. I'll talk to you soon.